Alright guys, today we talked about subtracting fractions, and we went over some skills that you guys already know, like subtracting when the denominators are alike, or just subtracting regular fractions when we have to find common denominators. So we're going to review those first, and then we're going to apply those to how we can add and subtract positive and negative fractions. So just a quick little refresher. When denominators are alike and we're subtracting, all we have to do is subtract the numerators, keep the denominator, and then we're going to simplify if we need to. So if we have our first example here, we have 4 sevens minus 2 sevens. We see that the sevens are already the same, so they already have common denominators, so we're just going to subtract those numerators. 4 minus 2 is 2 sevens. Now, we can't simplify, so 2 sevens is our final answer. Okay. All right, now what happens when the denominators are unlike? Well, if the denominators are unlike, the first thing that we need to do is we need to find their LCM and create fractions that have a common denominator. And when they have a common denominator, we're just going to subtract the numerators and simplify like normal. So if you take a look at our example here, 7/10 minus 3/8, those are different denominators, so we need to find the LCM to come up with a common denominator. The least common denominator between 10 and 8 is 40. So we need to create common fractions that have that denominator. So to have a denominator of 40, we have to multiply our first fraction by 4. So that would give us 28/40. Then we're going to do the same thing to have a denominator of 40 for our second fraction, but we're going to have to multiply it by 5. So 3 times 5 is 15, 8 times 5 is 40, so we get 15/40. And now we can subtract because we have common denominators. So 28 minus 15 leaves us with 13/40. We can't simplify 13/40, so that's our final answer. All right, so we're going to take those two skills and we're going to apply it to positive and negative fractions because that's the newest part. For us is adding in positives and negatives. So we're going to have to use our integer rules along with these skills that we already know. All right, so we might have an example that looks like this. -3/4 minus -2/3. And we know that when we are subtracting integers, the first thing that we're going to do is change the subtraction to addition and add the opposite. Okay, so now we have -3/4 plus +2/3. Okay, and so now we're going to create common denominators. The least common denominator between 4 and 3 is 12. So our first fraction, we're going to multiply by 3 and we get -9/12. Our second fraction, we're going to multiply by 4, so we get +8/12. We're still adding them because we changed the subtraction to addition and added the opposite. And when we're adding with different signs, we're going to find the difference and keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So I can tell you right now that our answer is going to be a negative because -9/12 has the greater absolute value. Then we're just going to find the difference. So the difference between 9 and 8 is 1/12. It can't be simplified, so our final answer is -1/12.